Everyone, hope you are doing great. Please let me know in the chat if you can see me okay, if you can hear me okay. And right off the bat, I'd like to apologize that we're doing things the old school way today. I'm using just a regular tripod because literally as soon as I arrived here, I was like, I forgot my gimbal. Like, I don't really use it, for many other things other than primarily live streaming. And somehow I forgot that I was going to do a live stream basically as soon as I got here. It's just so many things going on. So it's going to be a little bit more shakier than usual, but I'll just try and go a little bit slower so it's not so intense. But yeah, that's unfortunately what we are dealing with right off the bat. Very good to see Jim Ross here. Thank you so much for getting up so early and for also the very nice PayPal as always. Thank you so much for coming out, Jim. He says, fleet of feet, Alina, in the summer. Instead of slippery on snow and ice, snowboarding, Alina. Same girl enjoying the alpine glory of Bansko. Fantastic introduction, Jim. I couldn't have said it better myself, because some of you may actually remember this fabulous mountain town that we are in today. It is Bansko here in the Pirin Mountains in Bulgaria, and it is a very famous actually little town that we have here. There's a very big event that is actually starting from tomorrow onwards, and this is also a very popular tourist destination in general in Bulgaria, especially popular in the winter time for skiing and snowboarding, because they do have such a great alpine resort that will be at the end of our tour that I'll show you guys. But in the summer here, even though this is the lower season, there is still quite a few people who come out here because it is just such a beautiful spot, and you can go hiking, or mountain biking in the mountains. So the summertime is also actually a very nice time to visit. Great to see some familiar faces in here. My lovely friend Shigeru, thank you so much for coming out. Shannon from New York, thank you so much for coming out. I see Claude, William from Canada. My wife is visiting family in Bulgaria right now. Amazing. Ralph, thank you for coming out. Irvin, Zdravey from Dan, from Plovdiv. Благодаря. Borislav, Nath, Munir. Amazing. We actually have quite a few people in here already, so thank you guys so much for coming right from the get-go. And oh my goodness, my friend Jandos from Astana, thank you so much for coming out, Jandos. Really appreciate it. Hope you are doing great. We have Johan from the Netherlands. We got Nilesh from Dubai. We have James from Toronto, Mike from Medicine Hat. So a lot of Canadians in here, amazing. Todd from Calgary, oh my gosh, all of Canada is in here. My mom's here, привет. Приветствую, смотрим тебя с Таней. Привет, Таня. Хорошие прогулки по Банско, спасибо. Some of you guys may actually remember that my mom was also here with me in Bansko because we were here for my birthday in February. So her and I actually had a really great time in this city, but it definitely looks very, very different in the summertime versus the winter time. So without any further ado, of course, I will answer as many of your guys' questions as I can as we go. But let me just show you the view. Oh, we got Nathalie. Thank you so much for coming out. Man, we got so many great Canadians in here today. I love it. We are kind of in the main city square here. And from my understanding, this is kind of going to be the main area for the very big event that is starting tomorrow, which is NomadFest, which is why I am here right now. Very, very excited to be here for my understanding, the biggest digital nomad conference in the world. And what's especially crazy, I'll be speaking at it, by the way, as well. That's a whole new thing for me, public speaking to a fairly large audience outside of live streaming. Like, when I think about it, I've actually done, you know, live streams to over 1,500 people, I think was my biggest one ever in China. So, you know, it's a different form of public speaking that I have never done before. And I was under the impression that there's going to be maybe like 200-300 people that are coming. And of course, I don't expect all of those people to come to my talk because there's actually 2 stages that are operating at the same time. So people actually have to pick and choose which talk they're going to go to. And then I'm sure some people might just, you know, skip certain days. So I was thinking, okay, if there's even like 300 people here, probably, you know, the most that my talk is going to get is maybe like 100 people, which is still quite a bit, right? It's still quite a few people to give a presentation to. But no, I don't know exactly how I got that number, because everybody that I've talked to that's actually here said that it is going to be a minimum of 800 people that come to NomadFest this year. Like, I'm even shocked how there's enough accommodation for that many people here alongside all the regular tourists that come here. Because like Bansko itself has a population of about 10,000 people. And of course, you know, tourism is kind of the biggest, you know, industry driver that they have here. So sure, there's a lot of hotels, there's a lot of Airbnbs, but still, like, to get an influx of like 800 people, that is crazy. And so what that means is that I don't even know, like, most likely then I'm probably going to be talking to at least 300 people, since my talk is actually going to be on the main stage, and I guess that's the bigger stage. So I'm a little bit nervous, guys. I'm a little bit nervous, even though I'm really happy with kind of how I've constructed my speech, which is going to be up to about 20-25 minutes, and then there's like a 5-minute Q&A. But I'm a little bit nervous. So if you guys have any suggestions, you know, about public speaking and things to keep in mind, if you have experience, please let me know. Like, I'm sure it's probably going to be fine, and at the end of the day, it's not like I'm presenting to, I don't know, some really serious audience who's not at all interested in what I'm going to be talking about. Like, these are my colleagues, right? These are people around my age in a similar industry, and I don't think they take things that seriously. So I know it's probably going to be fine, but, you know, a little bit nerve-wracking when I heard that it's like 800 people that are coming here. Like, that is huge. So that is what is going to be going on starting tomorrow evening, is registration, and then it's going for a whole week straight, and every single day is jam-packed. Like, there is events from morning till night. Of course, you don't have to do everything if you don't want to. I definitely won't be able to do everything, but yeah, it sounds like a really fun time. So if you guys are coming, if you're going to be here, definitely say hi if you see me. And for anybody interested, my talk is on Friday. I can't remember exactly what time off the top of my head. It's in almost the afternoon. I think it's 11 o'clock, somewhere around there, if I'm not mistaken. But if you're actually coming here, obviously you'll be able to see on your schedule. So hope to see you guys there. What the heck here? Thank you for blocking the spam there, Rahul. Not sure what that was all about. Hello to Donna from Trinidad. And actually, question to anybody watching, has anybody that's watching been to NomadFest? And if so, what was your experience? I'm really curious, because I think most people have a very positive experience because this event keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's only been on, I think, for 4 or 5 years. So to get like 800 people, you know, coming to your event, like, obviously that says something. Very good advice from Ralph. Be yourself, have fun, and enjoy the speech. I agree. That is definitely very important and definitely comes across to the audience. I agree. Thank you very much, Jim. I much appreciate it. All right, guys, so let's get started with the little walk and talk here. Once again, this is kind of the start of the main street. Oh, there's the sign right there, it just disappeared, kind of advertising NomadFest. Yeah, this is the main city square and the start of the main street called Pirin Street, after the gorgeous Pirin Mountains that you see peeking through there. So this is just a really lovely area, and I think, you know, they set up the stage there. There's the performance halls further down, so this is probably where a lot of the action is going to be going on. Billiana has a very good tip. The Canadian rule is just imagine them all in underwear. You know, does that work? Because I think I would find that very awkward if I imagined the audience like actually in their underwear. I don't know if that would actually make me feel more at ease. Because funny enough, I have actually been to a male strip club before, and I did not enjoy it. Like, as a heterosexual female, I thought it'd be like, oh, like a fun time and, you know, all of that kind of jazz, what ladies do in like Vegas. I did it in Toronto, so okay, maybe the performers weren't quite as talented as Vegas, but I did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. So I don't know if imagining the audience in their underwear would unfortunately work for me. Thank you so much. Hi from EEEQ. Hi Alina, currently chained to the PC, so you are currently my eyes into town. I find digital nomads interesting as someone who is a digital local. That's great. Yeah, I mean, there are a certain breed of, you know, humans, all things considered, I think obviously in a very privileged position that we're able to work from anywhere and get to see the world, and, you know, depending on the locations they visit, they can either be a help to the local community or a hindrance to the local community. And it's interesting because I think more and more digital nomads are kind of, you know, trying to be the better part of that equation. And there's actually a talk at the NomadFest that talks about, you know, being an ethical digital nomad and how to, you know, not cause problems as much as possible in local communities and actually make, you know, a better impact than a negative impact. So yeah, it's a whole new category of careers that people have, because even like 30-40 years ago, obviously, you know, before the internet became live stream, this sort of thing didn't even exist. So all right, let me flip the camera here. Just wanted to give you a view of the lovely fountain that they have here. Really nice little garden. And we are going to make our way actually up this little side street before we get back on Pirin Street, because I really like what it looks like. It's the very kind of old traditional style here in Bulgaria, and in general, a lot of the buildings here in the old town are like 100 to 200 years old. The guest house that I'm staying in, I was just talking to the owner today, and he said that it is 200 years old. Like even this building right here, right in front of us, I think it would be at least 100 years old. Like, of course, they've done some upgrades to it, but it's definitely in the traditional style. And then right beside here, they have these restaurants which are called mihanas, which is like the term for tavern. So lots of great traditional Bulgarian restaurants, especially in the old town. Thank you so much to a Bulgarian local, Tanyo Ivanov. Thank you so much for the super chat. Beautiful Alina, greatly appreciated. It's definitely so great to have so many Bulgarians actually reach out to me in the last few days, because I've been kind of posting more Bulgarian content, and them saying, you know, like, thank you so much for sharing how beautiful our country is, because it is, you know, kind of sad and strange that more people don't talk about how amazing Bulgaria is. But I guess, you know, there are just so many countries in the world that there's always going to be a time that certain ones are in the limelight, and then other ones, you know, take their turn. So hopefully in time more people will learn about just how great Bulgaria is. Let me just flip the camera here. Lots of cute little cafes that they have here. This is actually a nice little hotel. Very nice. Thank you so much to Michael for the super chat. Hi, Alina. How are you doing? I am doing well, thank you. A little stressed, maybe you can kind of tell. It's been, yeah, a bit of an intense week where I had quite a few projects I had to finish up. I actually wanted to like start practicing my speech before I even got here, but I'm literally just starting now because I had so much work before. But I think it's going to be okay. You know, definitely having this channel and even speaking to you guys like this, it definitely helps prepare me for public speaking, so I think it's going to be fine. Dan asks, which dress did you choose for the speech? So I'm not going to wear a dress. I think, you know, when you're on an elevated platform, it's probably better to go with pants. I will say that first of all. But the organizers did say that they're looking for like business casual, like not too formal. I think it'd be a bit much to wear a suit for, you know, this kind of environment, but I'm probably going to wear these kind of really nice white pants that I have, and also a silk top and some loafers. So I think that's going to be my look of the day, at least at this point in time. Claude asks, how long is the speech? So ideally, I think they want 20 to 25 minutes with, you know, 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A time that you have after. You absolutely cannot go over 30 minutes. Like, you'll have no Q&A time if you hit 30 minutes, and they will cut you off at 30 minutes because you have to, you know, stay on schedule because there's so many other people that also have all of their talks lined up. So I'm trying to hit mine at about, let's say, 22, 23 sort of minutes. Another local. Thank you so much to the Bulgarians for coming out. Tego for a coffee in Bansko. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. So greatly appreciated. There's actually a few really, really good coffee places here in Bansko. Black Honey, obviously, is the best in my opinion. And then New World Coffee would probably be the second place that I would recommend. But there's actually quite a few places here that are really, really good. The one thing that I think, you know, over time, because it is a smaller place at the end of the day, will improve, is just the selection of food. Because, like, of course, you know, in a city of 10,000 people, you're not going to get everything. But yeah, there's enough. For like the 2 weeks that I'm spending here, there's enough. But in Sofia, obviously, like, I'm a little spoiled with like how many places I can just order from at any time of the day. Let me just flip the camera here. This is another main square that they have here. Technically yes, Jim. I am also a Bulgarian local in the sense that I live here, but not in the sense of obviously being Bulgarian. And I think somebody had actually asked me, you know, how's my Bulgarian coming along? Not a lot, not a lot, I'll be honest, guys. Like, basically, as soon as I've like moved here, it has just been one intense period of life after the other, having to set up so many, you know, different things and having a lot going on in my personal life and with work that, you know, I don't have to speak Bulgarian to get by here, so I have kind of put it in the back burner. But at the same time, having said that, I obviously have a huge, huge advantage compared to the average foreigner moving here. I'm already a long ways ahead of that, where because I know Russian, I can already read, because it's both the Cyrillic alphabet, which Bulgaria actually invented, and about 30% of words I would say are similar. So when I read, I would say I understand at least 30%, but when I'm spoken to, maybe 15–20%. That is actually climbing. I have noticed that I'm starting to understand more when people are speaking to me, but I still don't speak super well. Somehow I can understand, you know, when I'm listening better than trying to say anything myself. So that part, obviously, I have a long ways to go, and I will obviously take some proper classes and do the whole thing, but, you know, I just have to prioritize what gets done when, and the fact that I can easily speak English or Russian, you know, in the places in Bulgaria that I visit, you know, it's not something that I have to do overnight, luckily. There is, keep in mind, there are foreigners here that have lived here like 5, 10, 15 years and don't know any Bulgarian, and of course I'm judging them a little bit for that, but I think, you know, it's a bit premature that after being here for less than half a year, and I've been here actually in Bulgaria basically only 3 months because I've been traveling half the time. I think, you know, I'm going to give myself a pass that I don't know Bulgarian, you know, within 3 months of moving here. You know, that's a bit too high of an expectation. Shannon says, it looks so not crowded there. How nice. Oh, I agree. And it's actually surprising, you know, this is the night before the NomadFest. I actually thought that people would arrive a few days before, and there has been some, but overall, yeah, like there's really not that many people on the streets. And I guess we'll just see how, you know, in the coming days, if that will change or not. So, yeah. All right. So, we are still in the Old Town, as I had mentioned. And we are just coming up to this gorgeous Holy Trinity Church. I actually haven't been inside of it yet, because they kind of closed early every single day, and somehow whenever I'm walking by here they seem to be closed. So at some point I definitely need to visit. Look at those mountains there in the distance. So gorgeous. Oh, we got John from Victoria, BC. The city looks very nice. Glad you are staying busy. Thank you so much, John. It is a really beautiful place. Peaceful would definitely be, you know, the word for it, which in today's day and age, especially in the crazy political climate we have going on, I think we don't realize just how important and amazing peace really is. So I'm very grateful to be here. KPP team, thank you so much. Wishing you good health, Alina. I also hope your father has recovered and is feeling much better. Thank you. He is more or less back to his workaholic self. He has been back to work full time and yeah, has been feeling really good. So thankfully, he should be in the clear for that, because it was a really scary, basically month and a half that he was really sick with like pneumonia and a whole bunch of other symptoms. So thankfully he is feeling much better. And for anybody wondering, yes, I am trying my best to get him here to Bulgaria. I definitely want him to visit. It's probably going to be around November time where maybe he could come visit me for a while. We'll see how things go. And then I'm also actually trying to convince him to go to Southeast Asia after that, actually probably even by himself, because I think, you know, being in Saskatchewan where he is, like, it really is just so hard the older you get to have like -30, -40 all the time. And I know he feels better, you know, when he is in a warmer climate. So I'm actually going to pay for his ticket to come visit me and then to also go to Southeast Asia. So hopefully he takes me up on that offer, because yeah, I think that would be really good for him. Tego asks, how does your mom feel in Kiev? So my mom, thankfully, is actually in Moldova right now. She is at the country home of one of our family, well, actually her half-sister. She's at her summer home and is doing really well, thankfully, because yeah, like Ukraine in general the past while has just been, you know, an absolutely like horrific situation, and all my other family has obviously had to live through that. It has been like a really scary and just horrible last few weeks, especially in Kiev. So yeah, that whole situation is obviously still not good at all. So yeah, thank you very much to Boom Shakalaka. The A321 channel brings up a really really important change that just happened here in Bulgaria. I'm curious if anybody outside of Bulgaria has heard of this. So while Bulgaria has been part of the EU for a long time, this year they just joined the Schengen zone, which means, you know, you can have free movement between all Schengen countries, which is great. Just a few weeks ago, they announced that Bulgaria is almost for sure changing over to the euro this next year. So, you know, the euro currency. And there is a very wide range of opinions on that. I don't really want to speak on it too much because obviously I just moved here. I don't know all the specifics of, you know, their government and the, you know, situation with currencies here. But from my understanding, like the lev, the Bulgarian lev, has been pegged to the euro already for a very long time. It's about half of a euro, you know, one lev is like 0.5 of a euro. But at the same time, I have heard that sometimes when a country goes over to, you know, the currency of the euro, sometimes it can make things a little bit crazy, at least in the beginning. Sometimes prices can go up a bit, but I guess we'll see. Like, I have actually talked to some Bulgarians that think that this will be a very positive change and they're really happy that it's going forward. And then I've also talked to some Bulgarians that are not happy about it and think that there's going to be, you know, even more corruption because of it. So that is, you know, something that has been big news here in Bulgaria, and it's been really interesting because even in like grocery stores like Lidl, you will actually see two different prices now. Like you will have the lev and you will also have the euro pricing, and I think they're kind of doing that just to get people ready, you know, for the currency change. And even in like my bank account, it shows it in the two different currencies. So, you know, I guess we'll see how things go. I'm gonna flip the camera here because this is such a beautiful kind of historic looking restaurant. And then just to show you guys down the street here where we came from, we're officially on the main walking street, Piran Street. So now we can just go up that. There's a lot of great like shops and restaurants down here, but definitely the more expensive part of town. Like I've noticed a very big difference in the prices of restaurants on this street versus like further in the old town on the side streets. I've actually found some great local restaurants for a really good price, because when I first came here with my mom, I was like, oh my God, like the prices here actually for what you get are actually really high in my opinion. But luckily, if you know where to go here in Bansko, then there's actually some really great, reasonably priced sort of places. Sasha asks a good question. Do you think new travel YouTubers should travel nonstop without a home base while they're establishing their channel and growing initially, or have a home base to return to like you do now? That's a great question, actually. Really depends on the person, I guess. First of all, like whatever you feel most comfortable and productive in, because I know some people are just not able to like film, edit, and plan things on the go. They have to kind of come back to a home base, do all the, you know, computer stuff, and then go out and travel and film. But from my own experience, and especially if you're a channel that's just starting out, and just for the sake of budget, I think it probably would be better to travel nonstop to obviously destinations where you can easily afford to spend your time there, because I think that would probably help you get as much traction as quickly as possible. That's what I did, you know, for almost 4 or 5 years. I was traveling 8 to 10 months of the year, and I was able to get so much content, almost too much content. And you know, that really gets you that momentum right to begin with. And then once you're more established, then it's not so imperative that you're like constantly on the go pushing out content like crazy. You can take a bit of a step back. So yeah, that would probably be my suggestion for that. Boys, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey McLeod, great stuff once again. Eastern Europe small towns are great for Canadian expats like us. Showed it from Batumi, Georgia. Oh, amazing. Thank you so much. That is definitely a destination that has been on my list for a very, very long time. Georgia in general. I don't know if it's probably going to happen this year, but next year I can actually say with quite strong certainty, I think I could definitely hit up Georgia next year. So thank you so much for the super chat. Michael, thank you once again. We want the euro in Sweden. It's just the government that isn't open to it, unfortunately, Alina. Oh, that's so interesting. Michael, if you don't mind kind of elaborating on that, like why would you say, as like a Swedish resident, why would you prefer the euro over, I forget what the name of the currency is in Sweden, but obviously, yeah, you have your own currency there. Would love to know your thoughts on that. As I flip the camera here, Alex had a good question. Is it true that apartment prices are quite decent in Bansko compared to, let's say, Plovdiv, Varna, etc.? Yes, absolutely. Bansko actually, from my understanding, had a bit of a crash about 2-3 years ago that it hasn't fully recovered from. So I'll actually probably be able to find some kind of real estate board here as we walk up this street, but you can easily find like 1-bedroom apartments for like 70,000, 80,000 euros. Like those are like nicer places. You could even find some for like 50,000 if you're okay with the location not being as great. So obviously in like Plovdiv and Sofia for sure, but Varna too, I don't think you could get any 1-bedrooms for under like 100,000 from my understanding. So absolutely Bansko is less expensive, but also remember this is just a much smaller sort of place. So it's not quite the same. Oh, hi! Oh, that's one of my friends. The digital nomads are coming in. Aw. Speaking of friends, thank you so much, Rahul. Thank you so much for the super chat. Have fun at NomadFest and good luck with your speech. You got this. Thank you so much, Rahul. That is so kind of you. I really appreciate the support, and I know it's probably, yeah, going to be fine. Maybe it's even going to be great. That would be fantastic. But yeah, I think anytime you're trying something new, right, that you're not 100% comfortable in, it's a little nerve-wracking. And you know, it's different than me filming my videos, right? Because like with the video, if I make a mistake, I can just film it again or film it from a different angle, get a few different times to choose from. But with this, it's like you got one shot, and unlike a live stream where I'm just going off the top of my head, sometimes not making any sense, you know, now I actually have to make sense and hopefully keep people entertained for almost half an hour. So it's definitely unlocking a new skill set. So hopefully it does go well. But thank you so much, Rahul. I hope you are doing great. Thank you for coming out. Let's see here. I'm gonna flip the camera as I answer the question from William. What do you think of the medical system in Bulgaria versus the West? Well, I have not had really intense experience with the Bulgarian system, obviously, which I'm grateful for. I've been relatively healthy, all things considered, and the healthcare that I have had experience so far with, it has been private healthcare. So if you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen that I had a really weird skin reaction happen basically the first month that I was here. So I was able to visit a dermatologist who was amazing and that I was able to get in with right away. The whole consultation and medicine cost me $50, and she did end up solving my problem. So, I'm very grateful for that. And then also my cousin Misha, when he came to visit me, he ended up getting really sick, and we took him to kind of the best recommended private hospital that they have here. And he was able to, get some emergency help for basically $100. So those experiences have obviously been positive, but I don't have any experience with something really serious, myself. And also I haven't, tried their public system, which I think would be quite challenging as an English speaker. So we'll see in time how that goes. 2 fabulous super chats. Thank you so much to my friend Shigeru. You'll do great, Alina. Have an awesome speech. I have an early morning tomorrow, so I'm going to have to sleep. Catch you later. Shine bright from Tokyo. Thank you so much, Shigeru. That is so sweet of you. I appreciate you coming out, and thank you so much for the well wishes. Hope you are doing good. And Rawson, thank you so much for the super chat. That's actually a very unique name. I feel like you either have a background somewhere in Eastern Europe, but I see your currency is Canadian, so interesting name. I like it. Enjoy beautiful Bansko and Pierre and Alina. If you have time, try to explore 3 other towns around too. All best. Thank you so much, Rawson. I appreciate it. And I wish I had time. I wish I had more time, but basically, yeah, the conference starts tomorrow. It ends next Sunday, and I leave on Monday because 2 days after that, I have a flight to Montenegro. I guess I haven't announced that yet, where, yeah, I'm going to Montenegro and Serbia the early part of July with a friend of mine who I've been wanting to see for the longest time, and this is the only time that she was able to get off work. So yeah, I will be going there basically right after the conference, so sadly I won't have time to explore the area that much, but I will be making 2 videos here in Bansko, so hopefully you guys will enjoy those. But thank you so much for the super chat. Let me flip the camera here. Aw, thank you very much, Shannon. I appreciate that. Oh, interesting comment here from Mario Christov. Hi, Alina, Bulgarian here. Most of the Bulgarians want the euro. We've been working towards this goal for many years. Russian propagandists are against it. They are the minority, but very vocal. Cheers. Oh, that's some very interesting insight. Thank you very much, Mario. Because yeah, I'll be honest, like I do see, you know, so much media saying there are people that, you know, don't want it, like a substantial amount of people. But, you know, I haven't been here long enough to really understand the full scope. So that's really interesting to hear. Wait, Michael said I missed a super chat? Who did I miss a super chat? Oh, Michael. Oh, thank you. I missed Michael's super chat. I'm so sorry. For some reason, it did not give me a notification. Answering what Michael was saying before about him wanting the euro in Sweden as a local, because of everything, it has become so expensive here and the krona is no longer worth anything. Oh, that's interesting. So would you say that if the euro came to Sweden, you think that prices would actually like go down, or it would just be, you know, easier as far as like trade and investment in the country? That's really interesting. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for the super chat, Michael. Greatly appreciated. Let's see here. Just gonna flip the camera. Yeah, very interesting to hear from the Bulgarians about the euro. Please put your comments in the chat, because yeah, the more people that I ask about this, it definitely gives me more insight, because yeah, once again, on social media, of course, it can be just like a certain kind of narrative, and you know, sometimes the loud voices seem to appear to have more quantity than they actually do. So that's really interesting. Oh, amazing. Shannon says she's going to Serbia in July too. I've always wanted to go, and I'm finally doing it there in Bosnia. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm so excited for you. I hope you have an amazing time. I actually wanted to go to Bosnia Herzegovina as well, but I probably, you know, won't do it this time around, because I have just been traveling, you know, so much in the last 3 months. And I feel like I just need to spend some time at home. I need to kind of recover from all of this. And so, yeah, me and my friend, we really wanted to do Montenegro. But since I kind of have to go through Serbia, you know, to get to Bulgaria either way, so I figured I may as well at least do a few days there. But otherwise, I just want to come back home and just have time to kind of decompress from really 6 months of intensity, having just moved here. I see one person in the comments who is pro-Lev. Then I see Vesco is pro-Euro. Kroom, pro-Euro. Very interesting. Carl, I can't say I have ever heard of anything like this going on. In the winter, Bansko is extremely dangerous. Many owners are from the mafia. Whoops, missed it here. They come drugged and boss people around. If you do not comply, you may end up in trouble. Can anybody say if that is true? Because I have not heard anything like that. I mean, I don't know, maybe if you're in some kind of shady business, but I have never heard of that. Interesting. Thank you so much, Dean. Ninjetti, always incredibly generous with the super chats. Thank you so much. Hey, Alina, you've been traveling so much. Do you ever miss Canada? Yes, I do. I miss many things about Canada. And also, if for some reason you couldn't be a digital nomad, what would be your ikigai right here, right now? Also a great question. And for those who don't know what an ikigai is, it's the Japanese kind of reason for being concept, funny enough, a part of the speech that I will be giving on Friday. And it basically, you know, takes into consideration what you are good at, what you love to do, what the world needs, and if you can actually make a profit from it. So what would be my ikigai if it wasn't being a digital nomad? That's actually really hard because there's so many things that I don't like to do. Like there's literally like so few jobs that I think I would feel passionate about doing. And I also like money. I obviously also like money. I would want it to be something that I make a good amount of money from. So that's the hard part. Actually, one thing that just randomly came up in my mind of, you know, maybe something that I've never really shared on here, but that I'm definitely passionate about. And I guess if I was ever to have any kind of like social cause that I would work in, it is actually senior care. I am very passionate about seniors, you know, not being homeless and actually having, you know, being cared well in their old age. And this always just had, you know, a soft spot for me. And when I was younger, I like volunteered at seniors' homes and stuff. So something along those lines, obviously, I feel like could be a big passion, you know, project for me where I would feel fulfilled, because that's a cause that I really would like to make a positive contribution to. But obviously, you know, there would not probably be that much money in it, and I think it'd be a bit unethical to like have, you know, a for-profit kind of business when it comes to seniors care. But yeah, if I, you know, if I had the money that I need to live a comfortable life, what would I feel passionate about that's not being a digital nomad? Yeah, I guess it would be something along the lines of like taking care of seniors that don't have anybody to take care of them. That would be my ikigai. So thank you so much, Dean. I hope you are doing great. I hope you're having a great Saturday, and thank you so much for your support as always. See a lot of comments about the euro versus lev. I'm very happy to see it, guys. Michael just sent another super chat here saying, yes, Alina, prices will go down when we change currency, and trade with European goods will also become cheaper, maybe not all at once, but over time. Interesting point made. Actually, I was talking to a Bulgarian friend of mine yesterday, and she brought up a really important point. What is biting me? Something is like, sorry guys, I'm like, I don't know if it's a mosquito or what. But she brought up an interesting point, that she said that even though prices may go up for, you know, just general life things, but she said that she actually anticipates that especially in super overpriced places in the country, like Sofia, for example, like the real estate to buy specifically is so over the top in Sofia for what you're getting, that she said most likely prices would actually go down, because most people, you know, especially in Sofia, they have mortgages and they're already, you know, being kind of stretched to the brink. So a lot of people probably, if prices went up with everything else, they wouldn't be able to maintain their mortgages. Lots of people would dump their places. And she said that most likely prices in those kinds of markets would go down. So, you know, obviously we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure how that would all pan out. But that was actually an interesting point that I never thought of. Whereas like here in Bansko, for example, because the prices are so much lower, and a lot of the people that, you know, have places, they've had them for a really long time, they're all fully paid off. The, you know, real estate market probably wouldn't change that drastically here. But in Sofia, where the majority of the, you know, Bulgarian population lives in a condensed area, you know, that could really affect the real estate market there. So that's interesting and something that I never thought of. Let me flip the camera here. I got to talking and I didn't kind of show you guys the end of the pedestrian portion of the street. There's some really great kind of bars and patios right at the end here. Very, very nice. Right across the street is the, what is this hotel? 4 Points by Sheraton. And then the Kempinski Hotel is kind of right at the end down there. And those are the two kind of fancier hotels that they have here in the city. But there's also lots of small, like, kind of, you know, local 3-star sort of hotels. This would actually probably be the best area to stay in as far as convenience goes in the city. Oh my goodness, there's so many divisive comments in the chat about, yeah, Euro versus Lev. So interesting to hear people's perspectives. Great name. Not Dead Yet Adventures asks, I'm new to your channel and was just thinking about 2 weeks in Bulgaria. Is there a city you would suggest for a first-time visitor? Well, to be honest, if you have 2 weeks, you can visit a lot of different places. I don't think you would want to stay in just one place for that whole time. But of course, almost for sure, you're going to be flying into Sofia or taking the train or bus into Sofia. So, you know, I would say spend at least 2 to 3 days there. And then if you're visiting in the summertime, then, you know, the Black Sea coast is definitely where it's at, where most people will tend to spend the summer in Bulgaria. But Plovdiv would actually also be very nice in the summer months. So I would recommend visiting there. And then, yeah, I guess if you want to be in the mountains, Bansko is probably the best place you can easily get to. Obviously, there's a lot of other mountain ranges in Bulgaria that are also very beautiful, but a lot of them are a bit trickier to get to unless you're renting a car. So that's why Bansko is kind of the easiest option, because you can take a bus from Sofia. It only takes about 2.5 hours to get here. And, you know, when you're here, you can get taxis or just walk if you're city central. So that's very, very convenient. Yeah, honestly, in 2 weeks, you should be able to see, I think, at least 3 or 4 different places. Though that is true. Nathan says Plovdiv is beautiful, but it's too hot in the summer. Yeah, Plovdiv, just because I think it's at a different elevation, is substantially hotter than Sofia. So just keep that in mind if you're coming kind of in the hottest time of the season, as it might be really intense in Plovdiv. But maybe if you're kind of coming at the shoulder season, then Plovdiv would be okay. Sasha asks, do you think Southeast Asia is still a good place for new travel YouTubers to start, even if they eventually want to cover in Europe and Japan too? I mean, it all really depends on like what is the direction that you want to take your channel, right? Like what kind of topics are you going to be covering, and, you know, where do you feel most comfortable to really, you know, probably go off the beaten track and like do new things. Because let's be honest, like so many people make content about Southeast Asia, including myself, and, you know, it didn't do as well after my first trip there because I kind of was too on the mainstream track. I think especially if you're a channel that's just starting out, you want to find something that's going to make you kind of stand out and isn't super well covered. So I wouldn't recommend going to like Thailand and going to Phuket, right? There's 1,000,001 videos about Phuket, and as a new channel, you're not going to rank very well. So wherever you choose to go, choose a place where you can make as unique of content as possible. That would be my top tip to you. So now, guys, we have been walking a ways on the paved part of the main street. And as you can kind of see, we're getting into everything related to skiing and snowboarding, but it is closed obviously because we are in the summer season. There are still some shops that are open with like souvenirs, or there's a few shops that have bike rentals, some summer kind of stuff, but a lot of the shops actually shut down outside of the winter season because, you know, there just isn't a market in the summertime. So we are getting up to the ski hill, which is I think where we will end today's video. So if you guys have any more questions, please ask them now. Bansko asks, do you plan to visit the Black Sea at least for several days, or Greece, which is very close? There are cheap flights to the Greek islands as well. It depends. Probably I will make at least a short trip because, like, of course I don't want to go, you know, the whole summer not having gone to the beach that much. Like, Montenegro is obviously going to be my beach vacation with my friend. I hate this intersection. I hate this intersection because they don't have lights that work here. I don't know why they haven't fixed this. They didn't fix this when I was here in the winter time, and they still don't have it freaking fixed. So you always have to like watch. So yeah, I will probably try and make a trip even for a few days, but it all depends how things go. Because I do want to just have some time at home. Like, you know, as much as obviously I love my job, I feel so blessed that I can travel as much as I do. But I moved here to Bulgaria because I don't want to be traveling like most of the time. And I technically can't be traveling most of the time because I do have to be within Bulgaria for at least 6 months of the year to maintain my tax residency. So, and for my own mental health once again. So yeah, I think I for sure want to be at home for at least a month when I get back from Montenegro, and then maybe for the last 2 weeks of August, maybe I will go out to the Black Sea coast, because in September, I'm announcing this for the first time as well. I got a really cool work opportunity. My second public speaking event is TBEX, which is one of the largest travel conferences in the world for like specifically travel creators, tourism boards, travel brands. They always have 2 events in a year, one in North America, one in Europe. And I was asked to speak at their European convention, which is happening in Ireland, in Northern Ireland to be specific, Donegal, I believe it's called. So September, I'm gonna be in Ireland, which is very exciting. So yeah, in between that time, I need to be at home, but maybe I'll do a weekend trip to the Black Sea coast. Very long way to answer your question. I apologize. Boys, thank you so much for the super chat. The first thing I noticed just walking around, connecting with locals are so easy in Eastern Europe, so peaceful, more healthy lifestyle. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think in general, in Eastern Europe, it is just a more, you know, laid back kind of lifestyle, generally peaceful. Of course, they have had, you know, plenty of problems too. Like, let's be honest, the Balkans, they have definitely fought amongst themselves, and there's still, you know, certain regional tensions in certain areas. But overall, especially as, you know, a foreigner here, yeah, it's pretty relaxed. And since the, you know, biggest cities still aren't technically that big, it's definitely a slower pace of life than some of the Western European capital cities or North America, obviously. So very, very relaxed. Easy BG, how can they prove it that you've been there for at least 6 months? Good question. If I'm anywhere within the EU. Ideally, if I went by car, I mean within the Schengen zone, I shouldn't say EU, but if I'm within the Schengen zone, yeah, they technically cannot track that. I could travel for more than 6 months, and if I went by car especially, they'd never be able to know. And to be honest, like they're probably just happy that I'm paying taxes there, so why would they say, oh, you haven't been here for 6 months, like, you know, you don't have to pay taxes here? Like, no, of course they're not going to say that. Canada, I don't know if they'd give me any problems, but you know, just to go by the books, you should be in a place for at least 6 months to fully say that this is your tax residency. But yes, if I'm traveling within the Schengen zone, they technically couldn't say anything. But of course, when I'm stamping in and out of the Schengen zone, that can show that I have been out of the country for you know, longer than 6 months. So, you know, to me, I want to be home at least 6 months of the year, so it's not really an issue for me. But you know, if you didn't want to do that, I guess there are sort of workarounds. Let me flip the camera here, guys. We're just getting to the end here, right at the base of the chairlift, which actually I haven't been here yet since I have arrived. And look at this, they have like a whole jumping castle for the kids. And yeah, it's definitely very quiet compared to what this was like in the winter time. So that is interesting. Look how gorgeous the mountains are here. It actually kind of looks like it might rain a little bit, which hopefully it doesn't before I get home. But the weather has actually been like fantastic. The weather has been so amazing ever since I got back from Japan. It has been sunny every single day, plus 25, just magical. And this whole week it's actually supposed to be sunny, great weather, no rain every day. So I'm actually a little bit surprised to see these clouds here, but it might just be overcast, doesn't mean it's going to rain. So guys, GC, if you get arrested for tax evasion, I'll come bust you out. Thank you so much. I don't know who you are, but thank you so much. But no, don't worry about it. I'm a proper tax-paying citizen. I actually, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I can officially announce that I paid my last taxes to Canada. Obviously, I'll probably go back someday and, you know, continue to pay some taxes then probably. But for the time being, I have made my last fairly hefty payment to the CRA and finally received my notice of assessment saying that you're good, we don't need anything else from you, because this was my departure return. Like when you leave Canada officially, I don't know if it's the same in other countries, but with Canada, you have to do something that's a specific departure return, and you can't file it online. Like for all my other tax returns, I would do it myself with like TurboTax, but you can't do that with your departure return. So I had to have a Canadian accountant do it for me and then also send it in, you know, in paper form. Like, what are we? Is this like 2001 or 2025? Why in the world are we doing paper copies? But finally, after like basically 2 months, they got it, they assessed it. It took like 2 or 3 weeks for them to assess it. But then I finally got my notice of assessment saying, yeah, you're good. We have all of your payments, you know. I think they checked everything and everything should be good. And so that's done. So that is it. And since I came here December 30th, I meant to do that so that no part of 2025 would I be a tax resident of Canada. So now going forward, I will be paying taxes here in Bulgaria. I have a local accountant that more or less does everything for me. I just have to like send in, you know, all of my stuff, and they're actually able to like track everything on my banking as well, which is really convenient. So that is the current situation with that for anybody who is curious. Takeo says, we need to teach you to evade taxes the Balkan way. You know, I get it, like I get it. I don't enjoy paying taxes either, obviously. I don't think anybody does. But, you know, to be fair, like I do appreciate, you know, Bulgaria taking me in and giving me this opportunity. So I'm not looking to, like, you know, cut any corners or do anything illegal, obviously. And, you know, the rates are substantially lower here than they are in Canada. So I'm fine with it. It's all right. If I wanted to pay 0% tax, obviously I would have moved to like Dubai or something like that. I knew that like coming here to Bulgaria, I would have to, you know, pay my share. It is what it is. Jim says, you got out of Tokyo just in time. It's been in the high 30s lately. Oh Lord, mid 20s is the sweet spot. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy because, yeah, the first part of my time in Tokyo, it was not the best weather. It was like raining and a lot colder than I expected. So 30s is what I would expect in June for Tokyo, and also very, very humid. So I guess I did technically come at a good time. Speaking of which, I hope you guys are enjoying my Japan content. I had my first video go live, and then this week will be the first part of my trip with Airlo, and I really like the video and I hope you guys will like it. It was like such an amazing time. So that will be on Wednesday coming out. Shannon says the flat tax rate sounds nice. North America needs to take note. Yes, I agree that it would be great if we did have a flat rate tax in Canada. But one thing that I guess I should mention, maybe I gave off the wrong impression in some of my videos that it's just a flat wasp, that it's a flat rate tax here in Bulgaria. It's not actually. It's actually a bit more complicated, and it all kind of depends on how you set things up. So it's 10% personal and corporate, but especially with corporate, in my case, that doesn't include dividends. So anytime you want to take any money out of your business, you have to pay a 5%, you know, dividend tax on that. And then that's also without Social Security, without like healthcare, pension, and, you know, whatever else the government wants to throw in there. So if you have a regular, you know, job here in Bulgaria, you might actually pay closer to like 30%, all things considered. But, you know, if you're a corporation and if you're not paying yourself a very large salary, and if you are non-EU, that's the biggest thing. As I'm non-EU, I don't have to pay into Social Security as much as an EU person. So that's why for me, it ends up being like, you know, 20% or less. So it's not actually 10%, it would be more closer to 20%, I would say, all things considered. But like, you know, in Canada this year, I was basically paying like 35 to almost 40, I think, with everything, something like that. So I'm obviously still, you know, saving quite a bit on taxes. And then what I'm saving the most money on is my cost of living. Like that's really the biggest place where I'm saving a lot of money versus living in Canada. But those two things combined, obviously it's even more money saved. So that is my whole tangent. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And the next live stream that you will probably see me in will be from Montenegro, I think, which will be probably a little bit later than 2 weeks from now, probably 3 weeks from now. I'll obviously let you guys know in the community boards. Yeah, so I'm getting all over the place, guys, but I hope you enjoyed this little walk and talk of Bansko in the summertime. What a beautiful little city. So much to see and do. Would definitely recommend you guys come here if you come to Bulgaria. And if you are coming here for the NomadFest, like I said, please come say hi. I will be around, and my talk will be on Friday at some point. I actually don't remember the time that I'm talking at, but yeah, I hope you guys are doing great. Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you so much for your support. And as always, keep being your own kind of beautiful. Bye, guys.